Alrighty, we got Shiva. We're not going to go over this stuff yet. We'll pull this up when we watch it. As we're watching it used. What are these? Discordia getting a skin? All right. Oh, yeah. So there's an Arachne skin coming out, right? Shadow Prowler Bass. That looks pretty sick. There's an Arachne skin coming out right next week. I saw that on before the PTS was up. Yeah, it's in the bonus. Oh, it's in the other pack. Okay. That skin is really, really good. I saw that like when I wasn't supposed to see it. And I remember I told you guys, I thought there was an Arachne skin. Oh, my bad. All right, so what we got going on? A bunch of little things changing, some bug fixes. Cool. Some audio fixes. Cool. Game modes. Key Draugr Harpy Camp Trio is now a single alpha harpy. Okay, so that kind of makes sense, I guess. I don't really... Harder to kill, does a little more damage. I don't know, alpha harpies aren't even that nuts anymore. Jungle spawn timers. Delayed the initial back harpy camp spawns from 15 seconds to 30 seconds. All right. Changes nothing. And this is for reference. They're just talking about the start. So this is the start, like what we were doing on PTS. This is the start that's on live, everyone's doing. What does this have to do with it? Is this so people can't do that and then run the mid at level 2? Because I feel like this doesn't impact much. It impacts the people who are doing backs at level 2. Which I don't even do. Okay, that makes sense. Cool. So a good change from high-res. Obelisk. Decrease the team gold and XP rewards per offering from 25 to 10. Okay, so we get less. We get way less. Holy shit. Decrease Scepter's damage to gods by 1%. Increase damage dealt by the Obelisk to enemy gods stealing offerings. Oh, that's good. These are good changes to make it so it's not... See, here's the problem, though. They're nerfing the Obelisk to the point where it's not that important. And that's the only change we got this season. Everything is the same. The map is the same. This is the only change we got this entire season. So they're making their only change worthless. So this will probably end up being really bad, and I don't like their take on it. I think it's too early in the season to be making changes like this, and people need to learn, like, should have just learned to play around it. They're kind of fucking that up. Slash, we don't care about slash changes. Persistent teleport, they're increasing the cooldown by 20 seconds. Aegis of Judgment, which is the Reflect Aegis. Changing it from 30 to 20% of your max health. All right. Calamitous Rod. Warm up time. Ooh, okay, that's cool.
You should defiantly play with me and watch me carry you on.
No, Andon. Thank you for $20 out. Decrease warm up time from 1.5 to 1 seconds. Scaling down by 5%. All right. So it might hit more, but it'll do a little bit less damage, I guess. Bluestone Pendant. HP 5. Okay. Well, that's going to keep being built. Stone of Binding got a buff, a little bit more protections. Titan's Bane got a buff, a little bit more power. They really want Titan's Bane to come back. I don't know if that's enough to make it come back. Like, if you think about it, this item has the same amount of power as Runeforge. Why? These are supposed to be damage items. Why? Why is it the same power as a hybrid item? Relic Dagger, decrease the cooldown reduction on relics from 40 to 30. That's a good change, so supports aren't as OP. Still going to be really good, though. Like, it's just 10 seconds. Jing Wei, decrease cooldown on her Gust, decrease cooldown on her Bolts. Oh no, we're gonna have a Jing Wei back in the meta. I hate hearing that. Increase base damage on Hera's Polymorph. Increase Argus protections by 20. That's all right. That's a big jump. 30 damage late game on this. That's a good amount of. That's good chunky damage. This change is the best change in the whole paper patch notes. Bakasura's Eat Minion now takes at max rank 2 seconds. From takedown and or Butcher Blade's cooldowns. So you could ult 3, auto, eat one of your minions before they despawn, and then your 3's back up. So maybe we'll see Baka come back into the meta. That's why I said this is the best change, because I like the idea of Baka maybe being like semi-meta and being playable. Ratatasker's Crit Acorn now has 5% more crits. Increased passive self buff after hitting with Dart from 15% physical lifesteal and 15% basic attack damage to 20% physical lifesteal and 20% basic attack damage. That's cool. Okay. I don't think that's enough, but that's cool. Maybe this crit is enough. I don't know. We'll have to test that a little bit. Kumba. Fuck Kumba. Increase wake up early, slow, and attack speed. Slow debuff duration from 1 to 2 seconds to 2 seconds at all ranks. That's great. Nice. Thanks, Iris. Just what I wanted. Terra. Cooldown on her monolith reduced. And Earthbreaker on Hercules power scaling is increased by 10%. Nice. All right, so we can bamboozle this and we can watch the Shiva announcement, and I'll pull up the paper stuff as we get into this a little bit.
To all those different pieces of art in his model.
Absolutely gorgeous. Oh, and here we are
and there he is in game.
Oh, I like his abilities.
Absolutely beautiful. Awesome.
His abilities have good colors.
So I guess it's a good opportunity to actually talk about a little bit of the things that
His
are the
weapon.
iconic items that and just
His
parts of
bongos
this
on his
model,
fucking
because
weapon.
We went through not just painstaking research because a lot of this is things that we knew we needed to bring into the game. So whether that's the matted hair that he has with the top knot that you can see has actually the blue tinges to it because it's actually holding the river Ganges within it. The
The
blue
snake.
skin, but as well as a slightly deeperly blue throat, which is based on his stories of the poison. Of course, he's got his snake buddy with him as well, which is actually integral there. We've got the horizontal lines in his forehead, the vertical eye, and I'm going to go through these a little bit. The crescent moon in his headdress.
He's saying everything so people won't be upset. Making sure they note it.
The meditation beads and the tiger skin.
Hold up, that looked like he might have a cleave in that auto attack.
That we've put into
I don't like
Shiva
I don't like the idea of that.
We're really excited.
Well, awesome. If y'all think we're at a good moment, let's just see a showcase of the abilities.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Knock it out. Let's show them off.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Okay, he had some double dash. He had a knock-up of some kind. He had some kind of cone-ish shape ability, and then his ultimate had 3 different uses.
So much love from all departments.
Absolutely.
Literally firing on all cylinders constantly. So,
okay.
I mean, let's just start off. Let's go through everything. Let's start off with the basic attacks. Let's talk about that.
So yeah, Shiva does actually have longer basic attacks like we would see with a normal spear or lance user, the 16-foot range. He does have a basic attack.
Damn, look at how many autos it takes to build up that
Third
passive.
hit
What the
will be a
fuck?
meteor hit, while the second one will be slightly weaker.
This is
He's
the
also,
passive.
yeah, of course, he's a physical warrior, as we've mentioned in the Closer Look blog. I know people were a little bit confused into some people saying he's an assassin. No, he's a physical warrior.
I'll be playing in the jungle. Don't you worry about it.
In potentially different lanes, but we can talk about that again towards the end.
Maybe he's a support.
Awesome. Well, then let's get into.
I wonder if he's a supporty warrior.
So, Samsara, you said?
Yeah, Samsara. It is the idea of the cyclicality of the universe. That is going to be his gameplay hook. It's going to be what we talked about in the Closer Look blog. He's a state switcher more than he is a stance switcher, and that you can see in his passive. He's going to be going from the 2 states of bliss and destruction, and you can go through these by dealing damage to enemy gods with the different attacks and abilities.
Wait, it's not a build-up. It's just.
There's basically 2 components to the state switcher.
That's weird. What the fuck?
Buff or debuff state. So if you're in bliss, you're going to be providing HP5 and MP5 buff aura to yourself and allies. If you're in destruction, you're going to be doing the reverse to enemies. You're going to be decreasing their HP5 and MP5 around you.
Okay,
but
that's a really
playing
good
off
solo
that
in.
state for his abilities is that each one of his abilities outside of his ultimate will be providing different utility effects depending on which state he's in. So the abilities themselves won't be changing, and you're going to see if you look at the patch notes, I'm sure you're going, why does he have so many different things? It's because you're going to basically be switching between different utility effects, and I'll go through each one of those as we continue on with the abilities.
Awesome. Well, now seems like a good time to continue forward into his first ability, Emblazoned Sweep.
Yeah, so his first ability, it's I want to say these are pretty simple, but when you put everything together, it's not quite so simple. But Emblazoned Sweep, Shiva is kind of enhancing his trident, the Trishula, with the fire of Agni, which is what he's holding in his hands. As he spins it around him,
Comes with them
dealing
names.
damage and pulling in all of the enemies. When he spins around the trident, he's also leaving behind a firewall at the edge. That deals damage to enemies if they're inside of it. It's not a dot, but if you do cross within the threshold, you'll take damage. Think kind of like Ganesha's ultimate. Now, the spin does damage. The damage on the fire, of course, is there. And going into that passive a little bit more.
What the
if
fuck
you're
did
in
his
the bliss
pull?
state, so you can see that right now. The
Blue
fire has a
pulls?
little bit of that blue tinge. And that's because if Shiva or his allies cross through that fire, they'll actually gain a movement speed buff. Now, if we switch to destruction state, enemies who go through that will actually be getting their protections reduced for a short duration. So
you just speed up your boys, dude? What the fuck?
The allies no longer gain that movement speed buff, but the enemies gain a utility debuff instead. And like I said, we'll talk about the different effects on the different abilities, but there's a primary core component, which is the circle pull in and damage with that firewall, and then either the movement speed buff in Bliss or the protection.
Oh, that's nuts, bro.
Destruction.
That one is nuts.
Yeah, that's super awesome, and I love the thematic, destruction.
The idea of being sped up while also like pulling in, like having him pull people towards me is sick.
Damaru's tempo.
Damaru is that little drum that he's attached to the Trishula Trident, and that's what he's going to be using with the striking his trident.
That's going to be weird to use on instant cast at first.
Hear the Damaru shake.
Like Wukong's
so
3.
what's happening here is you can actually see there's a segmented cone where you can choose which part of that cone you want to have the a knockup, really, the enhanced effect, which is the knockup. the damage is going to be going in throughout the cone. The knockup.
Oh, you have to actually hit it.
And those are the core components.
That's
of the ability.
really cool, actually. There's some skill involved if you want the knockup to hit.
If you were going to be in the Bliss state, it's an attack speed buff, always for Shiva, so you don't have to worry about it. He'll be gaining that. You can see the little buff that he gains in the tooltip icon, as well as allies. Again, if you actually are using this through enemies and through allies, they'll be gaining an attack speed buff as well. It doesn't matter. The segmentation is only there for the knockup. If he's in the destruction state, it's going to be an attack speed debuff instead. So nothing positive for your
That's
allies,
so weird,
but for your enemies, they're gonna be hitting with that damage and going to be hit with that.
You're gonna want to try to prioritize your state you're in, but it's not gonna be possible a lot of the time. It's just gonna be swapping because you're hitting abilities.
Referring to about the unique cone targeter, where we have had cone targeters with a segment. Actually, we had Atlas, but this one actually has a manual selection of which segment you want to.
Yeah, that is weird.
Which is a very new effect and has a very unique skill shot element to it.
For what it gives, I thought it would do more because there's some skill, like actually aiming involved, where like a lot of cone abilities just throw it out.
Make a mistake and have to pay attention more.
Yep. So when it does have a little bit of a time before when you select and you've locked in the segment versus when it actually fires. There is that pre-fire target you can see which locks in that segment, so you can continue casting and knowing where the knockup is going to be. But just keep that in mind. Also, as you guys can already tell, Shiva has quite a bit of CC in control. It's mostly between these two abilities. There's less CC in the rest of his kit, but these are primarily very important. And now, again,
that's a good combo.
Myself, but if you're playing against a Shiva,
full knockup, double CC, bro. I wonder what the scaling is. I can't wait to look at the paper.
I think I noticed when we were showing off that last ability. If I'm correct, Shiva is one of the few people that has a non-combat animation, so an animation that only plays if you're out of combat. Is that correct?
That is. It's a feature that a lot of gods have, but a few within the last few years did not. It's something that essentially what it does is when the god is just idling like this, they will have a different idle than if they had just recently attacked. They would also have a different run and jump. So it's quite a few animations. It's a lot of the movement, jumping, the movement, the jumping, and movement. And Smite includes 8-way runs, which is a lot of different directions. So there's a lot of extra things there. So it is a very expensive additional add, but it's something that we've seen a lot of feedback for, and we are going to be attempting to bring back on as many future gods as we can. So much shout out to the animation team and for their planning and their work to get this on Shiva and make this god feel as special as he deserves to be.
I couldn't agree more.
This does not refer to dances, emotes, or special emotes. That's a completely different system. This is a much more subtle system of animation that adds additional kind of flavor and personality to the god while you're playing them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, I totally just saw that as we were talking about it and watching them transform from that, the after attack or post attack animation, and then just all of these movements just are so fluent and had so much character in life. It's just so enjoyable to watch.
Can we see the 3?
So super cool.
Shit.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, they haven't shown the 3 or the alt yet.
So next up we have ability number 3, and that's Pillar of Dawn. So let's talk about the Pillar of Dawn.
Yeah, Pillar of Dawn. So Shiva chooses a selection mechanism. So it's kind of like 2 separate dashes in a way. So you can choose a location where you're going to dash into, and you can choose that can be a short area, as you can see there. You can change the range on it. And Shiva dashes to that to the pillar, becoming CC immune and taking reduced damage while he's inside there, as well as pulsing kind of an aura effect. And then you can dash out again. Each dash deals damage to enemies in and out, as well as that aura, which does different things again, going back onto the passive. So if you're in Bliss state, you're going to be pulsing out a block stack to your allies, a maximum of 1. But Shiva himself, at the end of the duration of the pillar, will actually be accumulating block stacks. So he'll gain up to 3.
3?
You can see that as the orbs.
Yeah, good luck.
Around him.
Good luck.
If you're in just the destruction state,
He's gonna have Nemean, he's gonna have fucking his blocks, and you're never gonna hit an auto attack on him. Good luck.
Awesome. It is. So, I love like the silhouette view. That is so awesome to look at.
Yes, exactly. And that's a
and that all does damage. Yeah, look at that shit.
Utilize his stories and his lore and his identity as much as we
wonder
could.
what the scaling is on that.
The origination stories of Shiva is that he actually emerged from a pillar of fire, revealing himself to Brahma and Vishnu, and that's something that the design team really just wanted to latch onto, and it just brought such great imagery that the art teams just executed on fantastically. So I'm very, very excited for this ability.
I couldn't agree more. A beautiful implementation. I think it looks absolutely stunning. So now we are on to the ultimate, which I'm super excited for, and this one is called Shiva Tendava.
Yes, that's right. So one of the things that I didn't mention is that Shiva, as the many different things, as the primary yogi is the creator and destroyer, he's also a lord of dance, and that's something that he utilizes the Tandava to kind of destroy the world, but also in just many different stories to do many different things. But this is it. This is his ultimate dance, and quite literally. So in the Shiva Tandava, Shiva's CC immune for 6 seconds doing his dance, and there's up to 4 different steps that are always happening on the 1.5 second beats. In the first step, so also, I guess, before I get ahead of myself, you can see his buff, his ability icons change to the 3 different steps, and you can choose which one you're going to be going into next. So no matter what, there's always going to be the step that is performed at the 1.5 second beat, but you can choose an interchange between them. The first one is a heal for himself and allies, as well as a soft mana restore. The second one is the amplification step, where it does a little bit of damage, a little bit of healing, but also amplifies the radius and the effects of the next step that is performed. So you can see here the radius actually gets bigger. The third one is a damage to enemies as well as a shield reduction to enemies. So you can choose which order of dances.
What the fuck?
I mean,
these are hard that you're
did
hitting.
such a fantastic job, whether it's between the effects to the animations, which is just kind of mind-blowing that I'm almost, awestruck and at a loss for words between the sound design. Each one of the different steps that he performs.
Wait, it does it 4 times?
Amplification does a different pose. He's got his ongoing dancing loop throughout. I mean, really just a kudos to all the teams involved. And
yeah, there's 4 pulses
again later. But for the
why does it look like that shit just did 1,000 damage?
No extra movement speed, CC immunity specifically, and damage. Heal,
we gotta look at these numbers, dude.
And that is just, I mean,
Right, that's the kit, right? Let me pull up the fucking paper numbers of this. What the fuck? All right. Okay. So his passive, he cycles. That's the cycling through between the 2 states. That's just the debuff or buff for yourself and people around you or against enemies. The one is the spin. The spin does 285 plus 60% scaling. The fire does 50 plus 10% scaling. This is up there. It's not small number, especially with decent scaling. The 2 is 300 damage with 65% scaling. Okay. The Pillar of Dawn is 185 with 30% scaling, and then the aura damage is 23 with 4% scaling. That's every 0.25 seconds for how long? How long is he in this shit? Why does it not say how long he's in this shit? Boy, I know you can use the 3 twice. How long do you sit in it when you're standing in it? Because it's probably like 3 seconds. It's probably like 2 to 3 seconds of immunity. So let's just say it's 2 seconds, and then you have to dash again or you leave. Oh, it's 3 seconds? Okay, so this takes 12 times? Holy shit. And then let's see that ult damage we were talking about. What the fuck? What the fuck? Hold on. So if you go full damage on this god, your thing is gonna pulse 4 times for like 525. That's a 2,000 damage ultimate. If you're building any power at all, even without power, that's 1,300 damage. No, but you wouldn't amp it. You would just do raw damage the whole time to min-max your damage or to maximize damage. Oh my gosh, guys, you wouldn't amp it because then you would just do the same damage. Think about that for a second. If it's doing 325 damage. And you do a half damage one, it'll only do, 160 whatever. And then if the next one will do that damage, it'll just up that damage back to the same amount. You'll just end up doing the same amount of damage. The amp does half damage. Why would you want to do half damage to amp the next one a little bit of damage? You would just do damage the whole way through. Come on. Turn your brains on. Who cares about range? Range is huge. If you can't hit that shit, you suck. You don't have to aim. It's a big circle. This kid has like 3,000 damage.
Oh man, did I miss all the fun stuff?
Why does this all hit so hard? What the fuck are these base numbers, bro? No, you don't amp it. It doesn't even... The amp is half damage.
He is taking burning up the dance floor to a whole new meaning.
Process this, please. All right. If I can hit for 100, or I can hit for 50 and amp the next 100, you end up doing the same damage. Please. And it's not amping by 50. I'm pretty sure it's doing half damage, and the next one's just amped a little bit. No, who cares about heals? You're trolling. It's not amping to 150. It's 50% damage and healing. It's half of each, and then you get an amplification. It doesn't say what the amp. Wait, does it? Oh, the amp is fit. So just make it up for it. We're literally just replacing the damage. It's the same. Why would you do that? Who cares about a heal? I'm trying to do damage. If you do half damage now to do more damage later, it's still the same damage. You can bait Aegis. You can't Aegis 4 ticks in this shit. The Aegis can only Aegis 1 tick. This is ridiculous damage, bro. This is fucking nuts. This actually kind of pisses me off. Like, I'm really sick of these high base numbers, dude. I don't. This is like, they need to go through and rework so many abilities. Like, why is this hitting for 300 flat damage on a warrior who's gonna build full defense? Why is it that with no damage, I'm doing 3,000 damage? I'm like it's literally a 3,000 damage kit with no scaling, right? Or like a fucking 2,500 damage kit with no scaling, without the scaling involved. I'm so sick of this shit. I'm dead serious. I'm just so fucking tired of high base damage warriors, man.
We got another one. Woo!
Yeah, this shit's getting real fucking old.
It's 2,500 base damage.
They're-
Full tank and one hit people.
This season, I actually think they might ruin Smite a little bit this season. We might have our first bad season of the year, of the last like 4 years, 5 years.
All I hear is you complain.
Bro, you're gonna be complaining when you're a full tank fucking guardian still getting half health by a full tank warrior. That's dumb. Yeah, it's low skill abilities. You don't even need to hit the knock up to do that max damage on the 2. Which is kind of fucking troll. I don't know, man. I don't know. Good luck.
You have to aim 0 of his abilities. And they all do 1 billion damage, and they all have some kind of CC. They gave him a fucking immunity for some
Whoa,
reason. That's
look. To hit my 3 block stacks, I gotta fucking at least kind of aim it somewhere. It doesn't have to hit.
Oh, baby.